In the heart of Solaryn, a sprawling coastal city of glass towers and neon lights, people live under the illusion of peace. But beneath its polished surface, crime syndicates, corrupt politicians, and secret laboratories thrived. The city was built on progress, yet its progress came at a price. People became disposable. No one knew this more than Kale Draven. Kale was 24, a failed apprentice engineer, and the son of a factory worker who had died in a mysterious accident. That accident wasn't mysterious to Kale, it was negligence. The factory had cut corners, sacrificed safety, and his father was burned alive in a fire that could have been prevented. The company was never punished. Kale's grief turned to fury, and his fury to obsession. He wanted justice. But justice didn't exist in Solaryn. One night, while breaking into the factory's restricted wing for answers, Kale stumbled onto something strange. Hidden in the underground vault was a chamber marked with radiation warnings. Inside, a pulsating orb of golden fire floated, contained by magnetic fields. It was not man-made, it was something older, alien, stolen from the stars. The scientists called it the Ember Core. Kale, in his reckless anger, smashed through the controls. The containment shattered. Flames burst out, swallowing him whole. He should have died that night. But instead, he was reborn. When Kale opened his eyes, the world was burning with light. His skin glowed faintly, cracks of golden fire tracing his veins. His hands pulsed with heat. And with a thought, flames erupted at his fingertips. He was terrified, yet strangely alive. The fire didn't consume him, it obeyed him. He staggered out into the night, leaving the ruins of the lab behind. The Ember Core had chosen him, whether he wanted it or not. Over the next days, Kale discovered the truth of his gift. His body no longer felt human, he didn't tire, didn't feel cold. And every heartbeat sounded like a furnace. Flames answered his rage, sparks danced on his breath, and heat followed his footsteps. But the power was unstable. When his emotions surged, his fire erupted uncontrollably. He burned holes in walls, scorched the streets, and once nearly set his own apartment ablaze. He realized he needed control, or he would destroy everything around him. At the same time, whispers spread through Solaryn. Syndicate members were found charred, their weapons melted into slag. People began speaking of a flame wraith haunting the underworld. Kale hadn't intended to start a legend, but the legend grew anyway. He knew he couldn't run forever, and so he embraced it, crafting a mask of black steel and crimson glass to hide his face. He gave himself a name, Solaryn. Solaryn struck from the shadows, burning drug shipments, collapsing illegal labs, and leaving his mark, a scorched flame symbol, at every scene. To the people, he was a ghost of vengeance. To the criminals, he was a nightmare in fire. But Solaryn's rulers saw him as a threat. Among them was Governor Malvac, a cunning politician with ties to the syndicates. Malvac feared Solaryn not only for the chaos he caused, but because he knew what powered him. The Ember Core had not been forgotten, it was part of a larger project known as Project Ascendancy. And Kale's existence proved that the project had worked. Malvac wanted that power for himself. To counter Solaryn, Malvac unleashed his own weapon, a mercenary enhanced through cybernetics known as Cryos. Cryos was Kale's opposite, cold, calculated, and armed with freezing technology. Their first encounter was devastating. Kale's flames roared. But Cryos's frost nullified them, locking Solaryn in blocks of ice. Kale broke free with explosive heat. But the battle left the city block in ruins. Neither could claim victory. Yet Cryos had seen Kale's unsteady control. And Malvac now knew his weakness. That night, Kale sat atop the ruined rooftops, questioning himself. He wasn't a savior. He wasn't even a protector. He was destruction wearing a mask. But then he remembered his father's face, soot-stained and weary, whispering, "Never let them break you." Kale clenched his burning fists. He wasn't finished, not yet. Over the following weeks, Kale pushed himself to the edge. He trained, not only in controlling fire, but in controlling his mind. He learned to channel the ember's energy into focused streams, precise bursts, and shields of heat. Slowly, he stopped being a man with fire, and became fire itself. Solaryn was no longer a rumor. He was a storm. Cryos returned, this time armed with deadly attack. Their rematch shook the harbor, steam rising as fire and ice clashed across the docks. Kale fought smarter, using heat to melt Cryos's weapons, bending steel into traps. The tide turned, and Cryos fell. But before Kale could finish it, Cryos whispered, "You think you're free? You're just another piece of the core." Then he detonated his cybernetics and vanished in a burst of frost and smoke. The words haunted Kale. Was he truly free, or just another pawn in someone else's design? Searching for answers, Kale discovered hidden archives of Project Ascendancy. The Ember Core was one of 7 fragments, each holding elemental power. Fire was his. But others existed: water, earth, storm, shadow, light. But void. He realized he was not the only one. And worse, others could be unleashed. Meanwhile, Sarevon's people began to rally. They painted Solaryn's flame symbol on walls. They chanted his name in protest against corrupt leaders. He had become more than a vigilante. He was a spark of rebellion. Malvac grew desperate, tightening his grip on the city. He formed alliances with other syndicates, arming them with stolen tech. But the harder he squeezed, the more the people resisted. Solaryn led them, striking like fire in the night. He taught them to fight, to resist, to stand tall. He was not just one man anymore, he was a movement. Cryos returned once more, rebuilt stronger. But even he could not stop an entire city rising. Their third battle lit up the skyline. But this time Solaryn emerged victorious, casting Cryos into the freezing ocean. Malvac, enraged, revealed his trump card: he had found another shard. A man infused with the power of shadow, Ablivar, emerged to hunt Kale. Ablivar was unlike Cryos. His body bent into darkness, his strikes slipping through flames like smoke. Kale's fire flared. But shadows devoured light. Their clash was terrifying, spilling across Sarevon's streets like a war. For the first time, Kale felt true fear. Ablivar whispered, "We are the children of the core. You are not the first. And you will not be the last." Kale barely escaped, wounded and shaken. But in his heart, he knew this was bigger than Sarevon. He returned home, mask cracked, body scarred, and stared at the fire within his palms. He thought of his father, of the people, of the city that now believed in him. He could not quit. He would not quit. He was Solaryn, the flame that would not die. The war escalated. Malvek armed his army with shadow tech, while Solaryn united rebels across the districts. Battles lit up the city night after night. Buildings burned, shadows rose. But through it all, Kale stood. Each fight honed him sharper. Each defeat taught him resilience. And each victory fueled the fire of hope. The final showdown came at the Solaryn Spire, the tallest tower in the city. Malvek stood with Obliver at his side, declaring himself the rightful master of the Core's legacy. Solaryn stood with the people at his back, their chants echoing through the streets. Fire and shadow collided above the city, a war of light and dark. Flames scorched the sky, shadows swallowed whole districts. Kale fought with every ounce of his soul, drawing on the ember's essence until his body nearly tore apart. At last, he engulfed Obliver in a blazing inferno, burning the shadow from existence. Malvek fell soon after, consumed by the greed of power he could never wield. Silence followed. The spire crumbled. But the people stood tall. Solaryn, burned and broken, raised his fist in victory. The city roared his name. Solaryn was free, for now. In the days that followed, Kale vanished from sight. Some said he died in the fire. Others believe he still walked the rooftops, watching. The people carried his symbol forward, rebuilding their city. Solaryn had become a legend, a flame that could not be extinguished. But Kale knew the truth. He was alive, hidden, recovering. And somewhere, the other shards still waited. He could feel them, calling across the world. His story was not over. It had only begun. For as long as darkness rose, the flame would rise with it. And his name would burn forever, Solaryn.